Hi everyone, it's Lillian here with another quick tip. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada, and today is Wednesday, no, pardon me, I don't know. It is March in 2023 because I'm posting this on a different day than I'm actually doing it. So I have a question for you. Have you ever looked at paper and said, oh, I wish it came in a different color? So for example, this gorgeous, gorgeous textured shimmer paper, it is fabulous, but it only comes in these three colors. But I have a tip for you. Look at this. This can be changed to any color. So let's bring in a scrap of that right here. And oh, let's use Flirty Flamingo. I wanted a nice bright pink, and I'm going to bring in one of my blending brushes. Now I am using the new holder that Stampin' Up! Has released, and because I have my labels on the back of my blending brushes, I have them in here this way. You could do it whatever way you wanted. This is really working for me, but it would depend what you have and how much space you have and what works for you. So let's bring in the blending brush, and I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper because it's going to be messy here today. I just have buried it. And make sure my blending brush is fairly clean. I'm going to pick up ink and I'm just going to smear it over here, and already it's starting to turn a pink color, the Flirty Flamingo color, and you can make it as dark as you want by building it up or as light as you want. And that's exactly what I did when I made this card. Let me move this out of the way. Right here, and I wanted this circle, this textured shimmery circle, to mount all this on. So there's the finished card there, and I added that. Next time I think I'd let a little more of the circle show, but that's how I did that. So now on to our next kind of paper. Another paper that I absolutely love is the Pearlescent specialty paper. This is found in the annual catalog. It's lovely and shimmery. It only comes in this color, which is kind of an off-white. So what did I do with this? I actually, I'll do this here. I'm going to use Balmy Blue. And again, I dedicate my blending brushes to a color. So I'm going to bring that in and smear it on here like that. And it takes a little longer for this one to pick up the color, and it will rub off because it takes a while to dry. But let me just bring in, I decided to make Easter eggs. So that's why I chose Balmy Blue. And so I have an oval here, and we're going to ink this up, and then we're going to turn it around. Now that color, because it's going to sit on top because of the finish of the paper, I'm bringing in a paper towel just to hold it so my fingers don't get quite so inky, and then I would set it aside to dry. So there, I get it like that. And what did I do with that? Well, one of the things I did with that was I did it in different colors and then made little Easter eggs for little table favors or friend favors or whatever. So I went with the pastels because I was working with the gingham paper and I wanted the Easter colors. But that's why I did that, and that's how I did that. So that's the Pearlescent paper. Now, what about that gorgeous, gorgeous paper that's called Like an Animal? It is all sort of raised, embossed with metallics like that. It's hard to show on camera. On the back, there's also some great designs, but we're going to concentrate on this right here. How can we change the color of that? I'm going to bring in just a scrap right now. And this time I want to use Coastal Cabana. So I'm going to use the same blending brush. I'll just clean it off. and bring in Coastal Cabana and rub it over. And it takes a little while sometimes for the color to pick up, but you see that it's starting to come like that. Now, because this is embossed and it's metallic, the metallic part is not accepting the ink. So be sure to bring in a paper towel or a tissue and just wipe it at the end and get the excess off. And what did I do with that? Well, let's move this out of the way. And I took some of that exact design and did this. So even though it's an animal print paper, I made it so that it could go for a rock band. I even used a bit of it here. So there you can switch it up to whatever color you want. Now, last but not least, what about if you have like black and white paper, like the perfectly penciled? So this is almost overwhelming, but if you pick it up, you can see that it's like this, and then it has more predominantly black on the back. Now, I don't have all the designs here because I'm running low, but you get the idea. So what could we do with that? Well, we can do a couple of things. One thing is, so I just had that information there. I was a little more organized than I thought. One thing we can do is sponge in it, just like we were doing. Now, I am going to switch out. Instead of using the regular size blending brushes, I'm going to use the small ones. So here's the regular size, here's the small. The head is much smaller, so it's much easier to get into. To be a little more accurate, I guess is the word. The handles are the same, so they both fit in the holder beautifully. So let's put these here and unlock. Oh, we'll unlock. I'm running, I can't think of the Petal Pink. No, Blushing Bride. That's what I used this time. Blushing Bride. So I'm inking up this, and then I'm going in here, and instead of coloring it with blends or markers, I'm just going to swish in the middle and color the flower like that. And I want the middle darker so I can go back and add more color, but you can see how the smaller brush helps you get into smaller areas like that. That little butterfly, I'm going to use So Saffron because we're working with gentler colors here. And just like that, I now have a yellow butterfly, and so on with the leaves and that kind of thing. So what did I do with this? Let's get these out of the way. I made this card here. So very quickly I colored it in, and I could have just done portions. I could have highlighted the butterfly or whatever, but I decided to do the whole thing there just so that you could see how that went. But then there's another way of changing the color, and that is if it was something like this, you could bring in your blends. So for example, on this one here, oh, I actually used a different color, grabbed the wrong one. This one here, I'm bringing in fresh freesia, and I like to use the bullet end, and you can see that the artists have given you dark areas. So I'm going to just add dark where the dark is, like that. Now you can color with your markers too. I just absolutely love my blends. And then I'm bringing in the lighter and filling it in. And I would be a lot more careful if I was just sitting in front of the TV or watching YouTube or whatever and doing it. But I just want to show you the idea. And then if you really enjoy coloring, you could color the whole thing, or again, you could highlight something. And what did I do with that? I made this card here. So this was Granny Apple Green and Fresh Freesia are the two colors that I used there, and I put a little bit of the black and white there. So just to highlight that. And then I was just having such a good time. I colored one of the flowers and just cut it out like that. Thanks to Tennille Williams for the idea for that. So there are just a few ideas for you to explore how to alter paper to suit what you want to do with your project. So remember, paper doesn't have to stay the color it comes in. It can be something else as well. So have some fun with changing up your papers. And remember, if you need any help